Cool. Recording started, potato in hand. So, you guys are in Elier, in the tavern, owned by Hacken. Just it's good to have our nice opening things. So, we're going to be picking up same day that you guys had returned. So there's been no time skip. Hacken, having looked at all of the information that you guys had sent over to him, based on your experiences with the goblins, the mention of this deniability, and the crowns. With that in mind, he begins to speak. So I can see that this is not good would be an understatement. The Crowns are a revolutionary faction, group of us who would seek to be independent from the Empire, and seek to enact that independence via violence. They also believe any of us who forebears, who work with the Empire, or are open to others via trade as being, how should I put it, traitors. I would like to know what they are doing in the Dwemer ruins and why they are seeking to blind observatories that are near us. So, given that we know nothing other than they are working with this goblin band, here is what I propose to you. There's my missive. He lays out a piece of paper in front of you. So, I would like you to follow these goblins back to this deniability. Given the route you said they were going, you'll be crossing the Alkir Desert. He motions to supplies that he has set out next to him. Supplies will be provided. I need you to figure out where these crowns are based out of, and what they are seeking to do. Do not get detected by these goblins as you are following them back. Likely they've been told what to do if they notice they're being followed, and or Crowns may note they're being followed and entirely refuse a meeting with them. Any questions? His eyes pan around the party slowly. The question that I know will be asked. He sets out gold in front of you. I will be meeting you wherever you are headed, following at a distance with the caravan. Just on he air quotes it, routine trading mission. So, wherever you guys end up, I will end up as well. Upon our arrival and finding the information we're looking for, you will be rewarded a sum of 500 gold. I'm getting this one set up so we can use this. There we go. So I get paid well, and I have a chance to get the goblin's head again? He looks you in the eye. Nord, I know your kind is not known for intelligence. Do not be detected by the goblins. Meanwhile, in the corner, a kitty slurps a noodle with a little content grin on its little kitty face with its little kitty cheeks. The goblin, Drindid. What should we do if they see us? If they see you. He looks over at Felix. Felix, if they see you, you're gonna have to somehow play it off as a coincidence and that you're non-hostile. However, we'll have to worry about that once we arrive. The goblins will not be... He looks down at Drindid. I am nervous they do not know how to keep their mouths shut. Nord speaks up again. I've got to remember, what's the... I've got it written down. Jornir speaks up again. Means in case a feist breaks out, I'm not going to charge in there and fight them. Good, you can understand. But fear not, the desert has plenty of things that will need bashing. I would advise you to keep your eyes, ears alert as you are traveling through the desert. There is no end to hazards. The goblins who traverse the desert are used to it. You yourselves, not so much. Anything we should know about? Any creatures we should know? I've already heard rumors about Dune Rippers. The bestiary of the desert is large and, well, endless. But hey, he chuckles, at least you don't have to worry about dragons. They're extinct. Courtesy our friends. He seems to be making a reference to Flavius. Aisha, breaking her silence while she was meditating on Mara, states that I would propose that our Khajiit friend go ahead. She may follow them closely, while the rest of us follow afar. Any other questions? He looks at you all. At this time, a heavily armed Alkir mercenary walks in. Ah, Hackett says, these will be the mercenaries accompanying my caravan. I've worked with them before. Nothing to worry here. Kara, the Khajiit, noodles finally gulped down. Hackett, one should not make jests of dragons, lest one wishes to meet one. Then turning to Jornir, this one could try to follow them closer, yes. It has been some time since this one tread with paws upon the desert. Aisha glances out of the side of her eye with the eyes that say, Can I pet the Khajiit? The cat, Kara, notices this and stares daggers back as a claw is slowly bared. Aisha said that, not Jornir? I don't know what I misappropriated. There we go. We're getting this accurate. I wish to attempt to swindle Hacken for more gold. You are welcome to make an argument, Kartoffel. Felix. That would be an unarmed attack, Candace. So, while Kara is staring daggers in the direction of Aisha, Jornir walks by and just, down the back of the head, just runs a hand along the Khajiit. Aisha moving closer over to Kara as she is reacting with claws against Jornir. A question before we depart. While they spin off to do their own thing, Kartoffel pulls Hacken aside. The desert is a long journey, my friend, indeed. And in the event of unfortunate events, I think the extra funding could be useful for us. Hacken chuckles and just throws his arms up in just, unfortunate events. Then he just sits down with a serious look at his eye. So, just, Look, Felix, I understand that gold speaks words to you that your lovers could never seek to whisper in your ear. You are being paid more than adequate for the job at hand. You do not need a harem comprising of more gold. So with claws, Kara just kind of digs at the vampire's skin, dealing modest amount of damage, though given about 10-15 seconds of pain, the flesh has healed itself, given the abilities of the vampire. He chuckles and then goes over to Felix, seeing the problems, to intersect and pull Felix off to the side. So, given that Hakan nods and you are all on your way, he sets off to deal with the mercenaries who are going to be doing the heavy lifting and moving his gear across the desert. Camels are being loaded, and the back part of his tavern, the trading section, is a bustle of activity. But, leaving that behind, you all head out. Aisha, turning over to Kara. Kara, do you as Khajiit believe that all deities... Kara, do you believe as a Khajiit that the deities are all felines, like the Khajiit themselves? Kara, seeking to get out of the attention and the limelight that the party seems to be putting their feline companion under, this one wouldn't presume not to speak for the other Khajiit, before scampering along. So conversations muddling about, jokes and such being told about. Indeed is, Felix? Or how can I do that? I almost went Gobrico Suave with you. Felix, Hacken told you good. You have harem of coin. Much coin. Must live like goblin, you must. As these conversations roll out, as initially you are following the tracks of the goblins, past the ruin, and over toward the west. Being put up on a hill, you were able to look out over the surrounding countryside, and at a distance, distant, but still in view, you are able to spy the goblins continuing on in their westerly path, beginning to move past the grasslands that you're in and into the desert itself. So, here's where I'm going to ask. Given that this is a multi-day journey, it's going to be a journey in total that's going to be about 4 days. I am going to want to know what you guys are doing for camping. What are your guys' plans for setting everything up? Continuing with the discussions while getting that answer. Felix coming over to Aisha, seeing the Kara go scurrying. Aisha, you worry too much about your deities. My gods are those who are willing to listen, and those who can bargain. Daedra sounds intensify. Aisha, just observing what's going on, tuning Kartoffel out in her mind, just resumes her meditation. So splitting between evening watch and night watch, the goblins are setting up camp, so you're able to set up at a distance observing them. We have 2 who have volunteered for the night watch, Jose and Candace, or Jornir and Kara. Drindeed only sleeps. Night watch not for him. Drindeed trusts subjects. There's still a little part of Drindeed's heart that remembers that he's a king, and the party acknowledged him as a king, and that makes him smile as he drifts off to sleep. I would advise someone to be doing perception right about now. This is DM vision, giving the party a warning. Did you say persuasion? If you could persuade Jornir to roll better than a 3 on his perception. No, that doesn't mean you can roll again. Kara, looking around, as the camp is being set up, motions to the party. This one has noticed something. There are things in the sand. Do I have you don't see those? There are these large protrusions where it looks like something on legs had just jammed it in. With your perception, you're able to determine that here there be sand scorpions. It would likely be best if you sought shelter in a cave of some sort. And there are plenty of caves and outcroppings in the area. But sleeping in the open, even with a watch, is asking to be found. After discussing this with the party, Kara looking up over to the hillside, and Jornir in agreement. This one believes we should look for a cave like we see up there. Camp there. We would be still hard to see for goblins, yet safer than sleeping on the sand. So with that, night comes for this. We'll call this the first night of your journey, because this is the first time we're doing camp. The night passes without incident. However, come morning, Night Watch would have seen them approach, but outside your cave are 3 of these giant scorpions. Their carapaces are like heavy suits of armor. Seeking to hurt them or fight them would be a nigh upon impossibility. Their stingers, like ebony, can pierce even the strongest of armors, finding a gap through which they paralyze their victims. Those that are stung by them take much time to recover. Read, if you get stung, you're going to need to spend a path point recovering. If you want any further info, you'd have to tell me what skill you're trying to roll and what you're trying to understand. Can music disrupt them? In other words, we run deeper into the cave. It is worth noting they don't fit in the cave you're in, but the goblins have been leaving a lot of trash around as they've continued on past their camps, and it appears that right now they are picking over the bones of some corpse that was dropped off in the valley. Corpse being like just leftovers of some food. Kara starts looking at the scorpions, trying to gauge anything. Doesn't really see anything of note. Indeed, this is the time. Or Felix, this is where you perfect time to use your persuasion. Felix, picking up his lute, starts strumming a tune. And as he does, you can feel see the scorpion just kind of they feel something is off. And they start moving, just kind of zigzagging toward the sound of the loot. And before long, they're at the edge of the cave, and while you are all safely back, they're reaching in with their pinchers and just snap, 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 snap. One of them catches a section of rock, snap, then with a little bit of pressure, just crunches the rock in half between its pinchers. They now seem very agitated and are scurrying on and around the rock face at the edge of the cave. Aisha, seeing this start happen, just grabs the loot from the bard. Farkas is hugging his foot. Well, of course. Even he loves his feet. Every Farkas needs its own danglefoots, to love and to hold. There is still much chittering and snapping of claws at the edge of the cave. Given about a couple minutes, what they do is they just kind of circle up and you see them starting to bury themselves under the sand. Tail spike just protruding, but they've set up what you could see are ambushes at the edge of the cave, in perfect reach that they'd be able to sting anything exiting. Dreamdeed starts screeching at the top of his lungs, trying to imitate a scary beast. He starts coughing halfway through. As soon as he starts doing this, again, the scorpions just kind of get up and just start trying to snap on the inside. Kind of sticky out, and then one of them just swings its tail in quick. Are they fast? They appear to be moving faster than you would be able to move, yes. Now, what is notable, are their legs armored as well? Yes. But what is notable is that despite the fact that they have eyes, they don't appear to be latching on with eyesight. The scorpions appear to be blind, reacting to the sounds of the loot and the yelling of Dreamdeed. Aisha just getting upset at getting pinned in, takes her shield and takes her sword, just starts beating it to create a mad clanging sound. Again, this seems to drive them into a frenzy, trying to get into the cave and reaching in as far as they can, just trying to reach at anything. Again, snapping a hold of rocks, snapping them. They also start just with their feet just kind of clawing at it, trying to get in. As soon as they started reacting like that, just stops. The echo of metal versus metal echoing briefly through the cave. Kara, will you be silent? This one will try to sneak out. So being ever so cautious with the footfalls, such as not to make vibration or noise, Kara starts moving. The scorpion's in ambush, ready to sting. She crosses the threshold and walks by the first, and between the second and the third, and in slow motion, is able to get distance between her and the scorpions. Able to find a path, she climbs up onto one of the rocks that's off frame here, where she's certain that she is safe and has distance between them. Kartoffel, finding some old sticks and brush, kind of wraps them together to make a torch. Dragon, or Jornir, says, well, that seemed to work, and starts sneaking. However, one of his footfalls as he crosses the threshold, steps on some gravel, and grinds it, just leading to a progressive grinding gravel sound. At which point, a stinger, wasting no time, goes in his direction. Go ahead and roll me a d10 defense. Or d20 if you have a shield you're able to bring to bear. Won't two-hand block? You can attempt to parry, yes. So you can burn a point in stamina to do a power block should you wish. Does a heavy shield count as the same as heavy armor for not being able to sneak? Yes. If. So brings it up and you try to parry, but the power and lightning strike is such that it immediately just lands into your shoulder as it's striking higher than what it deemed to be a footfall. And as a vampire, you are correct, you're immune to the poison, but the impact itself does 3 points of damage. And while you are immune to damage from the poison, you still feel a burning sensation in that arm. Falling just a couple steps back, you cross the threshold, and with some snaps, you're outside of it following up. I did see, Kara, can I throw something large away from the cave to distract them? You are welcome to. You'd be rolling a ranged attack. If you want to use something large, then you'd be rolling a d10. If you want to throw something medium-sized being about softball-sized, that'd be a d20. Large, I'm counting as larger than a softball, so like something like this. Big ol' rock. How will my regen work? You've got time. Grabs a decently sized softball, spies a set of rocks lying loose, very similar to what we're seeing here, further down away from the cave. With a beautiful arc, just kind of lets loose. I can't get a proper wind-up while I'm sitting, but had beautiful form. Kara lets the rock go, and it connects right up at the top, causing a tumbling of rocks. At the sound of that, the scorpions kind of stand up, and then you see them all just start sprinting down toward the sound of the rocks. And the fact that as they approach the rocks make more noises. Their pinchers just start delving in and trying to pick up what's under the rocks. Remind me never to try to sneak past these things again. Given that they are thoroughly distracted and the noises are sufficient, you are all able to make your escape. And you are then back on the path of the goblins. Continuing to follow the goblins, 2 more days pass. So far, without incident. The goblins have given no sign that they're seeing you. They don't even appear to have any patrols. And as far as you've been able to tell, they've just maintained in a straight line toward their destination. You're healed? Yes, you're healed. As the party is on their way, Kara just kind of huffs. This one would think you would thank this one for this one's action to save you? Aisha, look, I'm sorry about the scorpions. I thought the vibrations would have pushed them further away. Jornir, it ain't your fault, girl. It's that bard's fault. Glares at Felix, who at this point is tuning his lute and strumming a late-night melody, as it is now night 3 in the cave. Or a different cave, but night 3 nonetheless. Oh, yeah, you guys are in the desert, following the goblins. I forgot I had this slide. Kara turns back to Aisha. All is well that ends well, Aisha. Perhaps you just need a nice bowl of noodles. Does wonders. Meanwhile, Kartoffel starts playing a decent bardic melody about a cat that threw a rock and saved the party. I mean, it's not the next hit. Really, the death of the Spooderling was the best one. But we're at an okay level of performance. Nine-Leg Spooder, the best song? It's true. So come night, you are all camped. Night Watch, I want perceptions. That would be Kara, who just rolled, and Jornir. Still awaiting Jornir's roll. He might have had to step away. That's you, Dragonborn. We'll go with a roll of 10 for Jornir. He's still in Discord? Let me check. Oh, he's back. Jornir, I need a perception roll from you for your evening shenanigans. Screen froze. Rolls an 8. I was close. So, the 2 of you are on watch. And initially, no one sees something. Or no one sees anything. Then it is Kara who notices it first. Standing about 5 feet behind Jornir is this tall figure, clad in robes with what is a fairly lengthy sword in hand. He appears to be watching him from about 5 feet distance, lowly illuminated by the glows of the embers of your campfire. What do you wish to do? The asleep bard says question him. Kara just kind of looks around and ears go from her to her. Meep. As you meep silently and he just is looking over, you can almost... The look is of one looking over the sculpture that one would have created, like if you were a sculptor or an artist. He appears to be looking all over his body. I will greet him with a hello as loud as possible. This one says hello to you! This is enough to wake everyone up. And Jornir, you spin around to see him 5 feet behind you. In a flash, his character is gone, turned invisible. The rest of the party, waking up, begins to look around, sees Kara glaring intently and looking, while Jornir, face white as a sheet. I mean, whiter than usual. 'Cause, yeah, vampire. Dreamdeed wakes up. Hello? Hello? Goblin takes both his hands and just comically, I can't do it with glasses on, just rubs both of his eyes. Hello? big goblin eyes flashing back and forth. I rubbed like an eyelash into my eye while I was doing that, so let me actually clear them. There we go. Felix rolling over. Why have we interrupted my dream? I was talking to a dog and a weirdo in robes. Kara sits down, crosses arms, but levels an accusing claw. Perhaps, Jornir, you should let us know who was gazing upon you with such adoration. Your gaze seems to indicate you knew who he was. Enlighten this one. Jornir, I can't say for certain who it was. I only caught a glimpse of them in the darkness before they, well, disappeared. Huh. Speaking up to break the silence left immediately after that, the silence having held for a little longer than was comfortable. Felix, wait, Kara, you're telling me Fangs over here has an admirer? The drowsiness of sleep still upon him. Man, I'm gonna be tired when I'm done with this. This is the problem whenever I do sleep sequences. I get tired. 3D. Desert mirages. Like cake. Go sleep. Indeed crawls back into his tent. This one certainly doesn't think he was admiring Jornir's armor. Again, looking suspiciously at Jornir. The remainder of the night passes without issue. The final words from Jornir is, let's just continue with our mission. This is more important than whatever that was. Chuckling as he falls back to sleep, Felix, no, of course. He was admiring his obvious Nordic physique. The final wording from Kara, if you wish to have midnight rendezvous, perhaps you should warn this one beforehand, so she doesn't wake the entire camp, huh? And it is morning? You still believe it was a vampire? You are basing that solely on what the others say happened, as you did not see it. But Aisha, I do believe that what we saw there was a vampire. And he was interested in the used to be Nord. The conversations continue fast and furious as you continue on the 4th day of your journey. The day that should take you finally to have finished crossing the section of the desert you're crossing. And it isn't long before you arrive at the city of Skaven. Famed for its fire dancers, the city of Skaven is a bustling metropolis currently under the control of the Crown. The goblins, upon reaching the city, do a circle around it as if they are looking for something, before setting up on a mountain nearby where they can observe everything in the surrounding. Seeing that the goblins are getting set up to observe and not wanting to be seen, you guys quickly duck into the city and into the crowds bustling in and out, but yet where you still have a spot to observe the goblins without drawing attention to yourselves. Looking in and about the shops, the bard is... Felix is extremely distracted given the propensity for fire dancers to dance in ways that makes his bard go, ooh. The rest of the party, focused on their mission, continues to watch and is set up in a tavern that is set just outside the city walls, up nestled against a mountain, where you guys are able to sit, drink, play games, and observe. The goblins seem to maintain their camp for 2 days. On the 2nd day, Hakon arrives to speak to you inside the tavern. Having dispatched his caravan to begin unloading goods and beginning trade, you brief him on the fact of the goblins being up there, and you're welcome to brief him on any other topics you wish to. Having briefed Hakon on the goblins, they do appear to be meeting someone here. Therefore, I believe it is best we will wait and observe. I imagine it won't be long before someone goes out. They merely wish to see that the goblins are undisturbed first. Felix, could have given us some antidote to desert bugs, Hakon. If we had antidote to the desert bugs, we would have given it to you. We do not have an antidote known for scorpion poison. If that is, I assume, what you're talking about. Given that the other thing you could have run into were giant snakes. But you appear to be intelligent enough to know that a snake is not a bug. Kara sitting down with another big bowl of noodles. Hacken, did you know that one has never had noodles? Looking over at Aisha. He looks over. That is odd. He makes an order for a second large bowl of noodles, one for himself and one for Aisha. I've spent much time in this tavern. The owner makes a delicious noodle soup. I have exactly what you'll want. Meanwhile, Felix, have you ever had a kwama omelet? Was that really necessary? Haka just looks her dead in the eye. Oh, it absolutely is. He turns to Kara. She is 100% correct in that noodles are a epitome of culture. And yes, if you're going to have noodles, it's best start with a spot that has good noodles. Eat the noodles. You will understand, Aisha. What kind of beverages are in Hammerfell? Well, we're in a Crown Tavern, he says in a low voice. Best order any of the Red Guard ales. They'll likely have some imported, but they're not typically smiled upon. You'll draw attention to yourself. I want noodles too, share me! Grindeed, banging a fork on the table. He nods and waves over another. Anything strong? Hackett leans to you. Not if you're scared of venom. The scorpion venom is distilled and mixed in for a strong kick into some of the ales, but it is not for the weak of stomach. While food is being served, give me that, Jordier says. I will have 10 mugs of that. See, here's the thing. You can drink as much as you want, and you can't even get a buzz, because you're immune to poison, and alcohol is a poison. So all you get is the flavor. While he's beginning to down his drink, Candace now speaks up, noodle being chewed in her little kitty teeths. Hacken, did you perhaps know that there are, or did you perhaps have any midnight watchers peeking at you on your journey? He shakes his head. No, we had a very uneventful journey, thankfully for the mercenaries. I would have hated to see how they would have handled scorpions or a snake. Can you describe the noodles' taste? So, where you're at, they use a lot of earthy taste. So what they're going to have mixed in is probably either some cinnamon or some cumin. One of those two. Cinnamon if you're going for more spicy, cumin if you're going for a more mild. And then they're going to have mixed in various gamey meats. Again, we've talked about how they distill spices out of venoms. And they'd have that mixed in with the sauce just a little to give it a kick. A burning sensation in the mouth. That which mixed with the cinnamon and the other flavors gives you a very rich but very spicy taste. Hacken quips that in Skaven they like all things fire. The food, fire for the mouth. The drink, fire for the belly. Kara begins to tell Hacken about the Spectre vampire. This troubles Hacken. The other group that was with us when we hired you on, they've been dealing with vampires. It is known that there is a conspiracy afoot. I hesitate to make a connection, but we should be cautious. Aisha, after trying a little bit of the noodles, I've never had food like this before, and it is enjoyable, and just like she's 10 and has just found it, she's just eating her food with renewed vigor, bathing in the fire that fills her mouth, and even taking sips of some of the strong ale, thoroughly embracing the fire of Skaven culture. That is where we're ending today's session. We've gone on for about hour 15 minutes. Hacken has not paid you yet, and there is no level up just yet. We're moving to a level up every 2 sessions, and payment every 2 sessions. So the goblin bit isn't done. Jornir's thoughts on Ismire? I can't come to any conclusions, he says, and anything that I might say might mean nothing or even just cause us trouble. Best we just view it as the goblin said, a mirage. Yeah, but if I keep leveling you guys up infinitely, I have to keep improving the enemies infinitely. We need to explore this level system. Also, we haven't had a full combat. Y'all got stuck in a cave and I saved your rumps. She did. Got stung by a scorpion and survived. That deserves a level up. I'll cut you a deal, Dragonborn. You're allowed to level up if you get stung by a scorpion. If the goblin's allowed to level up 5 times for beating a 5th level player. And then getting his normal level, well, 4th level player and then getting his normal level up. And by goblin, I don't mean Dreamdeed. I mean the, dual proposal goblin. That goblin cheated and I don't want to hear it. You're always gonna hear it. You can't live it down.